Okay, part 3D. As soon as they say that g to the -1 power is the inverse function of g, I am immediately thinking of this formula here. Write an expression for the line tangent to inverse of g at x equal 2. So now remember this from the golden notes. So in this problem, we're thinking of this right here as being g inverse we're looking for an equation of the line tangent, not slope. Keyword is equation. Equation of line tangent. This would be x equal 2. And I know this is the equation I use to find the equation of any line tangent. So I need this y-coordinate. Well, inverse function means, so let's write it up here. If we plug in an x of 2 into the inverse function of g, we'll get something. But if we took that something and plugged it into g itself, the output value would be 2. That's what is meant by an inverse function. So I look over here and notice that the output value of g is equal to 2 when x is 1. So I know this has to be 1, therefore this has to be 1, therefore this is 1. They will give me 1 point for figuring that out. So you don't have to write anything down because we're going to use it here in a minute. But if you correctly figured out that g inverse of 2 has a value equal to 1, they give you 1 point. Again, you don't have to have it written down, just your work must show that you figured that out. I'm looking for the equation of a line tangent. So I need the slope right here, which means I need the derivative of g inverse. So that's where I use this formula. So the derivative of g inverse of x at x equal, I'm trying to find this at x equal 2, according to the formula will be 1 over g prime of g inverse of 2. We already figured out that g inverse of 2 is equal to 1. So now we have 1 all over g prime of 1. Come up here, when x is 1, g prime has a value of 5. So I've just figured out that the slope I'm looking for is 1/5. If I find that slope, they will give me a second point. So finding the slope is worth another point. And then the third point is for plugging everything into the tangent line equation. So we write y equals, the slope is 1/5, x subtract the x coordinate, which was x equal 2, plus the y coordinate, which is 1, because we're finding a line tangent to g inverse. So if I have this red box written on my paper, I get the third point. And in reality, the notation here isn't quite as important. Like, you didn't have to write this. The grader can see that you have correctly found that y coordinate right here. The grader can see that you correctly found the slope here. I do think it's better to write this out, otherwise you likely will make a mistake. But this part D is worth 1, 2, 3 points.